I'm doing a unit clarification right now at my school for that very issue. It can be challenged. It just hasn't been done.
And it should, because what was really happening when we made these unit determination statements, we were including everybody who stood in front, but we did it just by having job titles. Okay? So that way, then we could bargain to make sure that you're paid equivalent to what we're paid for our credit hours. Okay? And that would get the competition for wages that's driving this.
So if you're tenured or tenure track, we really need you to convince your tenure track colleagues to do the same thing.
Yeah. Of course. It's just a tough thing to even make because they don't have the labor history that you have. So they don't understand this. You know, they're not smart about unions. They just know they have one, but they don't see the impact of that. Second thing, they worry very much about letting you in to their union. Okay? So we in Michigan have organized contingent faculty, and the AFT has done it, and the NEA in Michigan would also do it. So we haven't sent out to the UAW, but we still keep them in separate units. Okay? We don't get to decide whether or not you will be rehired. And we need to, because every friend that I've had who has lost their job and had a good enough education and has become a contingent faculty member someplace teaching, I've said, do not carry the water of the faculty because you will work for 2 years. Don't make a wave. You will lose your job because of this idea of free speech that really came from tenure, right? And you think it comes from academic freedom, but it's actually economic freedom. Right. If you do not have the economic wherewithal in this country, you do not have free speech. Okay? A couple other things, I guess. I was hoping that you were going to put the capitalist pyramid up. If you don't know what it is, you know what it is.
I don't have a pyramid.
Well, look it up.
A pyramid's a good idea. I will add that.
We at the bottom are eating
a
each
pyramid's
other
better than the
and
picture
they're
of God.
thriving at the top.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
other thing is, I think everyone needs to kind of go look at the industrial workers of the world and just read their philosophies.
Hell yeah.
Because there needs to be some revolutionary change. We have business.
That's right.
We have business unions in this country.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you go back and look at Seelig Perlman and Commons, who codified the law here, they say, well, we just gave the people the law they wanted, but that law evolved, okay, because people hadn't known what it meant to have a European-style union. Okay? We need to tell people that our job is to improve the human condition, not to improve the economic condition.
Right.
And spend some time in Europe. My gosh, when I went to Denmark, they told me, oh, we have to send people back through classes 2 and 3 times. I came back from there saying, education is a process, not a race. Right? And that's because they said, we have to make sure everyone's educated. We're a small country. We can't move forward if everybody doesn't understand what's happening. That's what education is.
Sir, you had some questions earlier.
I don't have any questions. I just want to reinforce what these people are doing.
Actually talking to
one more point.
Okay.
Okay. You have been taught that marginal revenue, the money you bring to the university, should affect your wages. Absolutely does not. Okay? Opportunity costs affect wages. If you make an assumption that you have a perfectly competitive free market, the marginal revenue will equal the opportunity cost. Doesn't happen that way. Okay? Tough thing to teach. We teach in economics. Marginal revenue equals wages. Because there's another concept that we come up with, is the range of indeterminates. Plug that one in, you'll figure out that there's a lot of room between marginal revenue and what's happening.
Can I just respond to a couple of the things that you mentioned? So, one is in terms of this issue of thinking about the relationship between the situation for contingent faculty and alliances with tenured and tenure track faculty. I think that, the sort of neoliberal agenda that Judy was talking about and what's happening in universities is, it seems to me that tenure faculty should be really paying an enormous amount of attention to what's happening with contingency, because faculty governance is going to go away with this increase in the rise of contingency. And to that neoliberal agenda, that administrative control is really increasingly what's driving and what's more going to continue to drive university decision making. And so it would seem to me that that is maybe a conversation, a way to begin a conversation, that our contingent status actually threatens the position of tenured faculty. And the other thing that I might just mention about sort of quality of education, which is really interesting, Evan Osnos, I think that's his name, he writes about China for magazines, and he's talking about the attempt from the part of the Chinese to import the American model of education. While we're very preoccupied with testing and coming up with quantifiable outcomes, the Chinese are incredibly concerned that they don't have an education model that creates and allows for innovation and creative, imaginative thought. And so while we're trying to replicate a rote model, the Chinese are actually very interested in trying to understand how you create an education model that allows for creative thinking and innovation. And so something worth I think that's just an interesting note, so I thought I would.
Let me see the hands of contingent in the here. Okay, that's just considerable now. I guess in terms of keeping with the title of this workshop, why we would be higher, it would be what lost if we do not what? Organize, right? So I think in terms of this organizing structure, that's where the power base come in fighting, of course, this classical liberalism, right? Some of you are familiar with my story in terms of being fired for organizing the ad at East West University. We still are battling that. But one of the examples of it is, of course, when you do come together and collectively organize, you do have a voice. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, how do you protect that contingent who steps out? And I think that's one of the things that make a lot of contingent faculty fearful, because they could lose their job. Yeah?
Just, I know Judy comes from a school where contingent and tenure track faculty are the same union. In the sense you don't. Could you maybe talk about positives and negatives of respective lived experiences?
I come from Paradise. I don't know that I can really identify negatives. You know what the negatives are? The negatives are my feelings get hurt because I work closely with tenured faculty who sometimes have patronizing or condescending attitudes. I can live with that. I can live with that because because politically, we're completely, I'm from the California Faculty Association that represents the California State University. I usually say I'm from the great California Faculty Association. We probably have the best contract in the country for contingent faculty, and we're a combined unit, which I think in itself constitutes an argument for having a combined unit. I am on a 3-year contract. I have preference for work over people who have 1-year contracts or quarter-to-quarter contracts. After you've taught for 6 years, with according to certain rules, you get a 3-year contract. It's a kind of seniority. It's kind of a chunky seniority. I have a lot of job security. In other words, I've been there for 15 years. Our salary scale is the same as the tenure line salary scale, so we simply get a percentage of what the full-time person would get if we're on that step. I'm going to get a pension when I retire. My pension's going to be based on on my full-time equivalent time base. Not I have an 80% time base, so I'm going to get 100% of that salary. The percentage that's the retirement. I could go on and on about the good things about our contract. And I invite everyone to look. I really want to encourage everyone to constantly be looking at the calfac.org, calfac.org. Click on the contract and just check out what it is that we have, because it's not perfect. We have a lot to fight for still. But within the union, the contingent faculty are completely incorporated into the power structure, so we have quite a number, actually, of dedicated contingent faculty seats on the board. And in terms of political power within the union, I think that contingent faculty are about as close to equal with tenure line as they can be. Anyone who knows me knows that if I don't like something, I will say it. But